collectible giveaway at bigcardflip.com, and we're going to take a look at the condition of these cards before we submit them to get graded. We're going to go ahead and write down, got my little sheet of paper, trusty pen and paper, and we're going to go ahead and grade the card ourselves, and then we're going to submit them to Pure Graded X, and we're going to see how accurate is our grading, and you are going to come along on the ride so that way we all can learn together. And let's see, Carson from Pure Graded X mentioned that he is he's willing to make a video after I submit the cards to go over the grading results for me. So for the cards that I submitted. So I'm going to go ahead and place this card here, and of course I forgot my trusty magnifying glass. What do you think? Should I use the, you know what, I am going to, instead of using that, I'm going to use this because I don't want to scratch the card. And I feel that this is my best option. All right. So we're going to start off with Stan Lee. Let's get right into it. All right. I see that the centering on this card is it's off left to right, just barely anything, but it is off left to right, and so that's gonna knock it down. I had to I forgot my grading lamp. All right, so you can see the card a lot better now. So we're gonna go ahead and examine. We know the card is off left to right just a smidge. I don't know if it's really enough to really knock this card down much. We're looking at corners. We're looking at edges. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That right there, I did not notice. I did not notice that before. Oh boy. This is an eBay special right here. I did not notice it in the top loader. And you can see it there. Ah, boy. That's very unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. That right there is gonna bring this card drastically down. All right, so I went and I grabbed the Stan Lee from my PC, and I wanted to compare the two. Obviously, the one that I purchased on eBay, I don't know, a few weeks ago or so, has a damage on the edge. I did not even notice that in the top loader at all. This is why when you buy cards, you really need to take them out of the top sleeve, the top loader and the penny sleeve, just so you can get a good look at the card, and before leaving feedback and or not just returning the card. But it is what it is. My mistake, and learn from my mistakes. This could have stayed in the top loader and you would have never noticed it. But when you at close examination, you can see that there is a slight dent in that edge. Now we're going to compare it to the card I have from my PC, and let's look. See, this one has surface issues there. You can see there I have some type of surface issues. The centering is about the same. It seems like it may be off left to right. The rest of the surface, edges, corners, The card, other than that, the surface issues is about the same except for the dent. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can take out that. Let's see. Take out the surface issues. Where is my? There it is. Okay. Trusty microfiber. All right. Let's see. All right, let's see if you can see that in the camera there. It's right, two spots right there on the border, on the white portion of the card. And no, it is not coming off the card. So what do you think is going to knock down the card more? Obviously, it's got to be this. This is an indentation on the card itself, right there on that edge. It's not really a big deal. It's not you really can't tell unless you angle the card. But regardless, I think that this one with that damage there is probably it's probably about a 7.5 if I had to guess, because it's it's pretty significant in the fact that it is warping the card. So I'm gonna say that this one right here is the one that would be about an 8.5. I'm gonna say this one's about an 8.5. So I'm going to send in the one from my PC. So before I move on to the next card, I noticed two more on the same border, two more surface issues, but still, I even with those, there's seems to be what got on this card. Seems like there was something that got on the card. I'm gonna say that regardless, it's just superficial surface issues, nothing major. I'm still giving this card an 8.5. All right, let's move on. All right, we're looking at two Carnage cards from the 1992 set. All right, let's look at this one. Let's look at cornering. Centering. Let's compare the two, and they look to be spot on, exactly the same centering. Let's look at corners. Corners. Both have pretty good corners and edges. Let me take a closer look at this one here. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's look at the surface of this one in the front. This one looks good. Don't really see much as far as imperfections. See this one here. See some corner work here. Yeah, I think that this one right here also is in really, really good condition. I found one little blemish on the arm there. Nothing too crazy. Let's see. This one is even better. Wow. I can't find any surface issues. Let me know in the comment section if you see any surface issues here on this one. Wow. So, I want to look at this corner. See this corner right here has whitening. It's barely anything, but it's there. All right. So just so you know, you've got to look at every single aspect of the card: front, back, corners, edges. So all in all, I say this one has that one bad corner. I think that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate that it has that white corner. So that's why I'm gonna have to knock that one down. And then this one right here, this one doesn't have the corners, but it does have an imperfection on the arm, on the cover of this, and it looks like this corner here on the back is showing some whitening. So I mean, very, very little, even less than the other card. Let's go back and see on the arm. Yeah, I can see it. Can you see it right there? See if we can get rid of it. All right, let's see. If it comes off, that's going to be major for this card. If it doesn't, all right, it did not come off. It's obviously, oh, look, and there's a scratch. There's a scratch on the front of this card here. Wait a minute. Is that the artwork? Never mind. It's the artwork. Just looks like a scratch. All right. So one card has a corner that has some whitening going on, and then this one has an issue on the arm there. So I'm going to say that they're both going to grade at about a 8.5 or 9. I have to stick with a 9. You know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say 8.5. 8.5. I want to say 9, but I don't know. Yeah. Wow. I'm really on the boat here, on the fence on the boat. Yeah. I'm going to go with 9. I'm going to go with 9. They look pretty good, so I'm going to go with 9. Hopefully, Carson can give some criticism on that grade. All right, so now we've got 2 Deadpool cards. These are the cards that were in comic books in a sealed baggie, X-Force number 1. You can see right here there's an indentation on the card there. Slight, but it's there. Let's look at centering. Remember, you have the X, so that comes out some. So you have to measure that distance. Let's see. Let's compare the two. Top and bottom, they're exactly the same. Left to right, they're exactly the same. They look like they seem to be pretty centered, pretty well. Now, we were looking at this one. We did find an indentation on the card. There's a slight little dimple up there on this one card here. Corner work looks pretty good. There's a white speck here underneath the M in the black. I don't know if that's worthy of getting knocked down for anything. Let's look at the corners here. Let's look at the corners. All right. Has an indentation. That's going to be major. Corners, centering, back of the card, surface. Everything else looks pretty good. But again, there's a indent and a dimple. So on this card, I don't see anything else. I'm gonna say an indent. This is gonna be a good learning experience for everyone, because you don't often see that with cards, sports cards, and the fact that these were in a comic book, you would think that you're probably gonna see that, because they were just up against a comic, and anything that looks like there's another one here. Up on this corner, looks like it's slight, but it can see that up here, right there. Looks like there's a slight little indent there, but not enough to really affect the card. But it looks like it wanted to. Look, like something was pressed against it. Okay, corner work. Let's look at some corners here. You can see the black has some flaking to it. Both cards. Corner. Let me look at this one. See, that one looks like it may not be perfect the way we would like. I'm gonna say that this one is a 9. Let's look at the back before oh, looks like this corner maybe have a slight issue. Look, my goal is to be half a point in my grading to the actual grade. If I'm half a point up away from the actual grade, I feel that I did a good job. So again, this one I'm going to give a 9. This one I'm going to give an 8 because this one has the dent here on the card. All right, Ghost Rider rookie card, centering, left to right, top to bottom. Looks pretty good. Let's look at the corners. Looks good, good. Looks good, looks good. This one needed to verify. All right, let's look at the surface of the card. I don't see any scratches. I do see a dimple on the front of the motorcycle there, but still, very nice card. Corners, corner. All right, I want to look at surface, centering left to right. Left to right on the back of the card is off. And then I'm sorry for taking this off away from the screen, but it's not focusing. Let me see if I can show you guys what I'm looking at here. Look at that. Okay, seems like that corner has a little bit of dust. Take another look at it. Seems like, what is that? It's like it's lifted. It's lifted. The corner is lifted a tiny here under the magnifying glass. You can see it. Back is off-centered. Front looks really good, but you have a lifted corner on the back. I'm going to have to say, because of the lifted corner, you got a dimple. You have a little bit of a chipping, I guess, a little flaking there. You've got as I mentioned, that corner. I'm going to go with an 8.5 because everything else looks really good on this card. So I'm going to go with an 8.5 on the Ghost Rider. All right, here we go. We got a 1992 Venom hologram. Corners, edges, surface. Beautiful. This card looks immaculate. Wow. This card looks immaculate. There is a dimple up there. Let me see, I see something up here. See that? Right up above the villains. But I'm not sure if that's part of the card or not. This card. Let's look at the back. Edges, corners, centering. We have some chipping on the back, unfortunately. Goodness gracious. The card was looking good. We had very minor things on the front. We have some chipping. Yeah, issues on the back of the card are not going to knock you down as much as in the front of the card. Look at this. We have something going on there. This is an 8. We have I don't know what that is. We have that on the back of the card. We have some chipping, and We have some chipping. We have a surface kind of something up there, imperfection, and a dimple on the upper left hand corner. Centering looks decent. Does not look like it's really off. But regardless, the fact that the back of the card is chipping, I know the back doesn't affect it as much as the front, but we have. I'm gonna say this is an 8. All right, so here we go. We have a Spider-Man hologram, 1990. Let's look at edges. Let's look at edges. Let's get edges, centering, left to right. Looks like it's a little bit more left, top to bottom. Looks a little bit more on the top, so it's not perfectly centered. There is a slight imperfection there on the left, and a slight imperfection. Yeah, it's we have over here on the left by the World Trade Center 1.2.3. Right there where you barely can see it, but it's there. And then you have that little scratch up there. So you have, it's not perfectly centered. I don't know it's enough to knock it down, but you have those 3 dimples and a slight scratch up there. So the surface, centering, corners. Let's look at the back before we make a final assessment of this card. Again, the back of the card, it's going to be off left to right. Corners, surface. All right. Looks like the back of the card doesn't have anything glaring. Corner work. We'll look at this corner briefly. Make sure. Yeah, okay. All right. So this card with the surface issues, very minor on the front. I'm going to give this card an 8.5. Yeah, and obviously the centering is not perfect. I don't think it's really off enough to really knock it down. So I'm going to say a 9. I'm going to move from 8.5. I'm going to move to a 9 on the Spider-Man hologram. All right, here we go. Second to last card, Wolverine. Centering left to right, top to bottom. Looks pretty decent. Corner work. Let's see. Corner game. Okay. All right. Corners. You let me know what you think. Right there. Here, I'm going to hit it with the magnifying glass right now so you guys can go ahead and take a look. This is the only corner that I wanted to take another look at. Here. There we go. It's hard to get this in focus for you guys, but you can see that there's a slight, it's not perfect. You can see that it's like, I don't know. Let me see. No, yeah, it's just not perfect. No. Okay. Let's keep it going. Surface issue right on that upper left-hand corner. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a slight dimple there. Looks like something happened in that corner. Looks like the rest of the surface of the card looks pretty decent. The bottom 2 corners look okay. Not perfect. Bottom left hand corner, you can see it definitely is, seems like it's good, but under the magnifying glass it looks like it may not be a perfect 90. Again, that corner over here not looking pretty. Not looking pretty at all in that corner. That upper right hand, upper left hand corner on the front of the card does not look happy. So This right here, surface centering, you can see left to right, it's off just a smidge. Again, it's not horrible. I'm not sure if it's within the parameters. So I'm going to say this should be an 8.5 all day, even with that corner issue up there. I think it should hold as an 8.5. 8.5 all day sounds strong, but I do think that it's an 8.5. All right, last but not least, this is a 1994 Fleer Wolverine card. I mean, this is a sharp looking card. 1994 Fleer. You've got Wolverine. You've got Incredible Hulk. In the reflection of his claws, it's an iconic cover and of a comic book. Let's look at the corners. It's this card. I love the Fleer art. I really do. From the 94 set. I mean, the surface looks pretty good. I'm gonna try to look at it off camera. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Corners, edges, centering, everything on this card. Finally, you can tell this is a thicker card. Seems like it was made out of a better material. I'm gonna say that so far I'm looking at a 9.5, only because I did see a little indentation on the upper right hand corner, like a little dimple. There we go. We have a dimple here too. So over here, I'm sorry, I'm not pointing out what I'm seeing here. Another dimple there. So we're looking at no more than a 9 on this card here so far. So I would be extremely happy if I got a 9.5 on this card. But looks like c'est la vie. Looks like we're going to be getting about a 9 on this card, possibly a 9.5. Card is in really good condition. That little slight indent there in that corner, you barely can see it. You've got to really get in on that corner to see it. Again, there we go. You know what? Maybe if I move this light, give me a second here. So I'm curious to see if that'll work. Not really. Okay. Oh, there you go. There we go. You can see that corner is not 100%. It's about a 90%. So I'm going to give this card 9. Or a 9.5. Final answer. It's going to be a 9. All right. Well, stay tuned. I'm going to be submitting these cards to Pure Graded X, and we're going to go ahead and see what grades we get back. You've looked at the cards with me. You know what's wrong with the cards. You know what cards had how many scratches, how many dents, what did they look like under magnifying glass. Yes, you're watching a video, but I was relaying everything that I was seeing. So that way, when you are looking at your cards, you'll be able to do the same and say, oh yeah, I remember a card that is off-centered, or a card has a dent, or these many scratches on the surface or on the back versus the front. It should be you should get a ballpark feeling of what your card is going to grade at. So we are going to be submitting these. We'll see what Carson tells us. And once again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for that video, because this is where the money is going to be made if you can grade your raw cards. Because with the state of grading, the state of how much it's costing, you know what? Once you look at a card and you can tell this is going to be a 9 or a 9.5, and if you notice, none of the cards I feel confident that they're going to be a 9.5. None of them. This last one is probably maybe the closest one. So, but regardless, I do feel strongly about a few 9s. So hopefully we get a few 9s out of these. But again, this is more education than anything. Thanks for watching.